What's good, YouTube? Sensational Sincerest here, and I'm back with another Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video. We're here for February 12th, 2021's Vendor Reset. So let's get right into this and see what we got good for this week. For our first gear items, head over to Camp Hudson. Here the weapons vendor has a military MA70. And also here we got a high velocity magazine with 7.50% crit hit chance, 11% magazine size, and 5.40% rate of fire. For our next gear items, head over to the meat locker. Here the weapons vendor has a military L86 LSW. For our next gear items, head over to the base of operations. Here the Dark Zone gear vendor has an ACR. Also here we got a prototype performance mod with 4% turret damage. And also here we got an improved iron sight with 13% stability, 4% crit hit damage, and 5.50% headshot damage. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the gear vendor here and we got a tactical mask with the talent rehabilitated on there. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 2.50% smart cover damage resilience. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the advanced weaponry vendor and here we got a Marine Super 90. Also here we got an extended magazine with 119% magazine size, 3% crit hit chance, and 4% crit hit damage. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the special equipment vendor here and we got a pecan if you like to run this weapon. Also here we got an enhanced ACRE. Also here we got a Marine Super 90. Also here we got a Model 700. Also here we got a Spec Ops mask with the talent Enduring on there. Also here we got a Spec Ops armor with the talent Reckless. Also here we got a Spec Ops pack with the talent Specialized on there. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the special blueprints vendor and here we got a classic M60 blueprint with a gear score of 256. We also got a firearms mask blueprint with a gear score of 256. We also got a high velocity magazine blueprint with a power level 34. We also got a vertical grip foliage green blueprint with a power level 34. For our next gear items, head over to Camp Clinton. Here the special equipment vendor has a pecan if you like to run this weapon. We also here got a Cassidy. We also got a Liberator. We also got a Historian. Also here we got an enhanced AUG A3P. We also here got a tactical SA58 if you like this weapon. Also here we got an operator vest with the talent Vigorous. We also here got a prototype performance mod with 3.50% seeker mine damage. We also here got a small grip with 19% crit hit damage, 4.50% optimal range, and 2.50% stability. For our next gear items, we're still at Camp Clinton. Head over to the special blueprints vendor and here we got an electronics glove blueprint with a gear score of 256. Also here we got an EXP-S3 holographic sight tan blueprint with a power level 34. For our next gear items, head over to Dante's Run. Here the gear vendor has some gunslinger gloves with the talent Savaged on there. For our next gear items, head over to Autumn's Hope. Here the gear vendor has a Spec Ops armor with the talent Vigorous. For our next gear items, head over to Madison's Stand. Here the gear vendor has a prototype performance mod with 5.50% first aid self-heal. For our next gear items, head over to the Last Call. Here the weapons vendor has a loud vent break with 17% crit hit damage, 5% optimal range, and 2.50% stability. For our next gear items, head over to the Ward. Here the gear vendor has a prototype performance mod with 4.50% ballistic shield damage resilience. For our next gear items, head over to the Southpaw. Here the gear vendor has some gunslinger gloves with the talent Savaged on there. For our next gear items, head over to the Grindhouse. Here the weapons vendor has an extended magazine with 115.50% magazine size, 3% crit hit chance, and 4.70% rate of fire. For our next gear items, head over to the Firewall. Here the gear vendor has a prototype stamina mod with 258 stamina and 2.50% exotic damage resilience. For our next gear items, head over to West 31st Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 3.50% ballistic shield damage. For our next gear items, head over to West 34th Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a tactical AUG A3P. And also here we got a large suppressor FDE with 18% crit hit damage, 4.50% optimal range, and 2% accuracy. For our next gear items, head over to West 39th Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has an MP7. Also here we got a prototype stamina mod with 250 stamina and 3046 health. And also here we got an angle grip red with 13.50% stability, 4.50% optimal range, and 4% crit hit damage. For our next gear items, head over to West 42nd Street Checkpoint. Here the Dark Zone vendor has a G36 Enhanced. We also here got a Spec Ops mask with the talent Tenacious on there. And also here we got a prototype firearms mod with 266 firearms and 1% crit chance. For our next gear items, head over to West 46th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a reflex sight with 7% crit chance, 2.50% stability, and 5.50% headshot damage. For our next gear items, head over to West 53rd Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a tactical mask with the talent refreshed on there. For our next gear items, head over to East 64th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone gear mod vendor has a prototype firearms mod with 260 firearms and 3043 skill power. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 4.50% pulse duration. For our next gear items, head over to East 61st Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone weapon mod vendor has a heavy magazine spring with 4% crit hit damage, 5% reload speed, and 9.20% rate of fire. For our next gear items, head over to East 58th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone gear vendor has an operator mask with the talent rehabilitated on there. For our next gear items, head over to the Park Ave checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone weapons vendor has a hunting M44. And also here we got an M249B. For our next gear items, head over to East 53rd Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a custom P416G3. And also here we got a prototype electronics mod with 266 electronics and 2,916 health. For our next gear items, head over to East 46th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has an infantry MG5. And also here we got a reflex sight with 7% crit hit chance, 2.50% stability, and 4.50% optimal range. For our next gear items, head over to East 42nd Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a Spec Ops armor with the talent Reckless on there. And also here we got a prototype stamina mod with 254 stamina and 3% skill haste. For our next gear items, head over to East 40th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has an M870 Express. We also here got some Spec Op gloves with the talent Savaged on there. And also here we got a prototype stamina mod with 267 stamina and 2,894 skill power. For our next gear items, head over to East 34th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 2% pulse crit hit damage. For our next gear items, head over to East 31st Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 4% mobile cover damage resilience. And also here we got a C79 scope with 19% crit hit damage, 2% accuracy, and 5% optimal range. For our next gear items, head over to the 5th Ave checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a double barrel shotgun. And also here we got a heavy magazine spring with 4% crit hit damage, 3% crit hit chance, and 10.30% rate of fire. For our next gear items, head over to DZ3 safe room. Here the Dart Zone weapons vendor has a G36C. Also here we got a tactical Super 90 SBS. For our next gear items, head over to DZ4 safe room. Here the Dart Zone gear mod vendor has a prototype firearms mod with 267 firearms and 2.50% exotic damage resilience. And also here we got a prototype performance mod with 5% support station healing speed. For our next gear items, head over to DZ8 safe room. Here the Dart Zone gear vendor has a tactical mask with the talent Tenacious on there. Also here we got a Spec Ops armor with the talent Rapid. For our next gear items, head over to DZ9 safe room. Here the Dart Zone weapon mod vendor has a reflex sight with 7.50% crit hit chance, 5% optimal range, and 6% headshot damage. Alright everybody, that's it for our Tom Clancy's The Division vendor reset video for February 12th, 2021's vendor reset. I hope everybody who tuned into it found them something that they needed. Smash on that sub and like button. Y'all appreciate that support. And I will see y'all with the next one, everybody. Take care. Peace.